Okay, great. How are we all? Did you have a nice lunch? Are you ready to have some fun? Good, because I'm going to get you moving and up and about, doing lots of stuff. Before we do that, though, I'd love to find out a little bit more about all of you in regards to how you use speaking in your business. So when I say speaking in your business, do you go and do presentations? Are you required to do that? Do you go and do speaking engagements? Or is it more one-on-one conversations that you have? Can you all share with me a little bit where you're up to with speaking? Yep. I saw you nod your head, so.
Okay, so a lot of it is one-on-one or with a couple.
Okay. Great. Fantastic. Oh, wonderful. Great. Fantastic. Okay. Anyone else like to share how they use speaking in their business? Yeah. Great. Fantastic. On video or on webinars? Yep. Okay, awesome, fantastic. Anyone else like to share? So what I want to do now is find out on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being I absolutely love public speaking, I could just do it all day naked, to 1 being I absolutely hate it and I'd rather go and, I don't know, slit my wrists or something like that. That's a big extreme. But where are you on that scale of 1 to 10? So 7, 5. Who's on a 10? Mario's on a 10. Awesome. Okay. So you can come up here and do it naked. Who's on a 1? Oh, that's good. We've got no 1s. So we're kind of like in the middle. All right. So today what we're going to do is I'm going to take you through some processes that I use in regards to overcoming nerves. Does anyone ever get nervous when they have to go and present? Yep. Okay, so I'm going to take you through a warm-up process which will get you present in your body. One of the most important things for you as a speaker and as a presenter, even if you're doing it one-on-one, so say, for example, you might have a meeting with somebody, even if you've got an interview or a phone call, being present in your body and connected is your main focus. So we're going to move and shake and get you present. So that my experience actually comes from acting. So I have a background on stage and on camera, years of being an actress, a thespian. So a lot of the stuff I've learned in regards to voice and physicality and using your whole body to communicate is what I'm going to share with you today. And you can then take that away with you. And I'm also going to take you through the structure and flow of a TED-style talk. Now, who's heard of TED Talks? Yeah? Awesome. So I call it a TED-style talk. You might just want to call it your keynote, your signature speech, whatever it is. But this is what's going to be used for things like information nights. Even I have clients that use them for webinars, or if they do get big speaking engagements that they have to go and do, they will use this structure, which works really, really well. So I'm going to be asking you lots of questions and really making sure that you are implementing today so that you walk away with something tangible. And then we're going to speak about presence as well and the difference between when you are connected and when you're not, and how you can work to make sure that if you feel like you're in a room and you're not engaging or you're not present or you're in your head, who gets stuck in the head sometimes? How do we make sure that we move away from that so that you come across confident and clear and that your focus is fully on your audience? Because they're the most important, right? Cool. So let's just start with moving. I'm going to go up on the stage because I love stages. And before we actually do this, I'll tell you a little bit about my background on top of what Steve shared with you. So you can probably tell I've got a different accent. It's not Aussie. I'm actually from Manchester in the UK. And so I'll share a little bit about why I started Speaker's Little Secret and why I'm so passionate about all of you having a voice and being able to communicate with passion and with joy and just getting rid of that fear that comes up. So I was actually born at 26 weeks. So this one in here is 28 weeks. So I was born 2 weeks prior, and I weighed 1 pound 11 when I popped out on this rainy evening in Manchester. And the doctors actually said to my parents, "I'm really sorry, Mr. and Mrs. Huxley, but babies born at this stage don't usually make it. And even if she does, she's got a 75% of having a severe disability or brain damage." And fortunately, I had none of those, and I'm here to tell the tale, and was looked after very, very well. As a result of being a premature baby, I was always just very small and petite and tiny, and that kind of had an influence on my view of the world. Everything was small. I was small. My voice was small. I never really spoke up. I kind of just went along with things, and I was petrified of getting things wrong. So I kind of just floated along in life a lot of the time. And it wasn't until I found acting that I discovered that I had this creative flair, and that I wanted to tell story, and I could use my voice, and I did have opinions and things to say. And so it's been a long process for me personally in finding my voice and discovering what works and how to connect with other people. And I don't think it needs to take that long. And that's why I started Speaker's Little Secret, is because I love seeing that transformation of working with people who are maybe not clear on what they're saying, or they're not confident within themselves, or they may not be able to communicate clearly what they offer to the world. And so it's the transformation that kind of makes me excited, and just working with people like yourselves to really enable you to share your gifts with the world. So, less about me and more about you. Let's get moving. Can we have some music on, please? And can we all stand up, find a space? I need to make sure that you can swing your arm so you don't hit your colleague or friend next to you. All right, so we're going to start from head to toe, and I want you to just pretend that you're in the school playground. Yeah? Everyone up for that? Cool. Okay, so we're going to start by tapping the top of our head, and I want to make sure that you've got ease in your knees. So we'll say ease in the knees. What? What? That's better. Ease in the knees. Awesome. So then you're going to move on to your forehead. Give that forehead a good old massage. Give it some love. Gets neglected, our forehead. And then moving on to your temples. Again, checking that you've got ease in the knees. Ease in the knees. Awesome. All right, this next one's going to be a bit tricky for me because I've got this thing on. But this is called the coffee cheek rub, okay? The reason it's called that is because it's better than coffee. It's going to wake you up. So what I want you to do is you're going to take a big deep breath into your belly. So we're going to go past our shoulders, past our chest, into here. We're going to breathe in, and on the out breath, we're going to rub our cheeks as fast as we can and just let the sound out. So if I don't hear any noise, I'm going to get you to do it again. And if I don't hear any noise that time, I'm going to get you to do it again. Okay? So we're up for making some noise. Yeah? So breathing in. And I'm just going to rub one side. Awesome. You all look amazing. That wasn't loud enough, though, so we're going to do it again. So breathing in. You all love me, I know. Breathing in. And get those cheeks a good old rub. Get that blood pumping. Awesome. Next is the top of your lip. Why do we do this, do you reckon? We hold so much tension in the top of our lip, but it just gets neglected. When I used to do this, I used to teach at Brent Street Performing Arts School, I used to get the kids to go, uh-huh, uh-huh, uh-huh. And then they do it. Cool. Next, we're going to focus on your jawline. Again, because we hold a lot of tension in our jaw. Now, if we've got tension in our jaw, it has a direct effect on the way that you sound, even if it's in a one-on-one situation. So we always want to make sure you've got that flexibility. So you're going to take the palm of your hand and run it. It's a bit tricky with this little microphone. Run it down your jawline, and you're going to send away the tension. So both hands, and send away the tension. So you want to press your palms of your hands into your jaw so you can feel it, and send it away. And at the same time, we're going to do a ma sound. Ma. So I'm looking for choir voices here, okay? So we're going to breathe in, and then it's just a repetitive movement with one long breath. And it finishes. When it finishes, don't feel like you've got to push it. Just take another breath in, okay? So breathing in. And ma. Open those mouths. This is what I can see. Ma. So I want to see ma. Better. Ma. Awesome. You all look beautiful. Great. So if you continue to do that, it does start to loosen up your jaw and have an effect on your voice. Next is an actor's exercise. So if you went to Sydney Theatre Company or Melbourne Theatre Company, you'd see the actors doing this before they went on stage. So remember what we said before, ease in the knees. So can we all stand in a lunge position? Fabulous. Now, all be aware of your own body. If there's any injuries, don't do it. So we're going to do 10 swings backwards and 10 swings forwards whilst using our whole body to warm up as well. Okay? So I want you all to count with me. And a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, louder, 8, 9, 10. That's it. And the other way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Awesome. Other side. And a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Bet you didn't know you were going to get a workout, did you? And a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And take a deep breath. And shimmy, 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 shake those shoulders. Woo! Great. Okay, next is our hips, which is a little bit more difficult for me because I've got this baby in the way. So what I want you to do is put your hand on your hip, and I want you to stick your bum out like Beyonce. So we're going to do 8 circles to the right, 8 circles to the left. I'm not just doing this to make you look silly. I'm doing it because we want a loose, flexible body when you're communicating. And you can probably tell by now you're starting to feel a little bit different to what you felt before we started. Yeah? Is your breath changed? Yeah, awesome. Great. Okay, so 8 circles to the right, 8 to the left. And a 1, stick your bum out. 2, stick your bum out. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Woo! And the other way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oh, I said 8. We did 10. I said 8, didn't we? Anyway, we did a few more. Next, we're going to do knees. This is 8 circles to the right, 8 circles to the left. So this loosens up your knees and also your ankles at the same time. Woo! This baby takes up so much breath. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, other way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I feel like Britney with this on. Great, you're all doing really well. How are we feeling? Yeah, fantastic. Lots of smiles, that's good. Okay, so this is about moving from your head. Just have a sip of water. This is about moving from your head. So let's say, for example, you've got a presentation coming up, you've got an important meeting coming up, you might be doing a video, and we tend to go into our heads and we're like, oh, what if I don't say it right? What if they don't understand? What if? So by doing these kinds of exercises and just shifting your energy, you're actually shifting the way you're thinking so that we can connect from your heart. So we can tell when people are communicating from the heart and when people are communicating from the head. Do you reckon you can tell that difference? Yeah, cool. So that's, again, another reason why we want to be doing this. So the next thing I want to focus on is the sound of your voice. Now, this is not an overnight process, and some of you will never ever do this again. But some of you may go away and go, do you know what? I'm going to go and work with my voice and see what sounds it can make and actually see if I can strengthen it. Because then when you've got a strong voice, people will receive your message much more powerfully. So what I'm just going to get you to do is hum. So what humming does is it releases any tension in your throat, but it also creates a resonant sound. So who's heard of the word projection? Project your voice to the back of the room. So we want to throw that word away and actually use the word resonance. So if you think of an orchestra and you think of especially the violins, instruments like that, they have chambers where the sound is created. It's exactly the same in the human body. We have different resonating cavities within our body that create that sound. So we want to have a resonating voice that can reach all corners of the room. So humming enables you to do that. And it also calms down your nervous system. So if you are feeling anxious or nervous, humming is going to calm you down as well. So let's breathe in. And we're just going to hum. Lovely. We'll do 2 more. Making sure we've got ease in those knees. So breathing in. And 1 more. Breathing in. Nice and calm in here now, isn't it? Lovely. So if you do those exercises on a regular basis, and Steve, I do have an MP3 of the whole process, so you can all have a copy and pop it on your phone if you want to. If you continue to actually work with your body when you're communicating, it's exactly the same as when you sat down and you're trying to think of ideas for, your next product or your next presentation or whatever it may be. I always say, just get up and move around and speak out loud and let yourself make sound, because that's when your ideas can start dropping in. And the reason I know that is because I've done it so much with acting and looking at scripts and with the speakers that I work with. If people come to me and say, I can't think of anything, I'm really stuck, I'm like, what are you doing right now? Are you sitting? Are you standing? Normally they're sitting. So I say, right, get up, put some music on, and speak out loud. It really, really works. Okay? Take a seat. Well done, everyone. Give yourselves a round of applause. Fabulous. Okay, so just bear with me a second because I might need to just re-log in here. Can we all see that? Yes. Cool. Where do I point this? Up, up. Ah, it worked before. It's on. Yep. It's on. I can probably... Why will it not let me? Oh, here we go. I can do it that way. Like that. Yeah, I can do that. That's fine. Oh, there we go. It's working now. Thank you. Okay. This is pretty much what we've just done. Using positive energy to create success in every situation. Because that's what communication is, isn't it? It's a transference of energy. So, if you're having a bit of a bad day or a bad mood and you then go and communicate with someone, they'll probably receive that energy. Have you ever seen where somebody walks in a room and you've not spoken to them, but you can tell that they're in a bit of a stinking mood, even though they've not said anything to you? We can read each other's energy. So that's what this is all about as well. And Patsy Rodenberg is a very well-known voice teacher in the UK and in the US. She actually works with Shakespearean actors. And we're going to go a little bit more into what she does shortly in regards to the presence. So I believe that communication is the most undervalued skill in business. And the reason I think that is because life is fast. We're busy. We have lots and lots and lots to do. There's people in here with 4 children, 3 children, 2 children, no children, plus businesses. Teenagers. Yeah. So there's so much that we have to deal with on a daily basis. So then when a presentation comes up or we're required to step up and step into our leadership, we go, oh, I'll get it done. Because we have wingers, and then we have people who over-prepare. So we want to be a little bit in the middle. We don't want wingers because we're busy, because that means that you're going to... Who's ever left a presentation or a talk and thought to themselves, oh, that just didn't go as well as I wanted it to. I didn't get my message out. I didn't say what I wanted to say. And now I want to go back and do it again. So we want less of that and more clarity. Cool. Told you about me already. I'm just going to share this with you because I love it, and I'll tell you why once you've watched it. Oh. Will this work with the sound, Steve? Yeah. Right, are you there? Oh, we can't see it very well, can we? Oh, there we go. It's on here.
King, you destroyed the happiness of my family, all for the sake of ensnaring a starved patient you couldn't.
Can't see it, can we?
Would you be like mad? King George III.
Can you hear that? Or not really? If not, it's okay, I'll explain it. I'll act it out. Shall we try again, or? Oh, okay. Have we got the handheld microphone, or? Oh no, just do this, Okay, let's try this way. Oh my goodness me.
Lock me in the tower.
I would, if I could.
On what charge?
Fraud. With war looming, you've saddled this nation with a voiceless king. You've destroyed the happiness of my family, all for the sake of ensnaring a starved patient you couldn't possibly hope to assist. It'll be like mad King George III. Mad King George the Stammerer, who let his people down so badly in their hour of need. What are you doing? Get up, you can't sit there, get up!
Why not? It's a chair.
No, that is not a chair, that is St. Edward's chair.
People have
that
carved their names on it.
Chair is the seat on which every king
It's held in
and
place
queen...
by a large rock.
That is the stone of Scone. You are trivializing everything. You trivialize...
I don't care how many royal households have sat.
Listen to me! Listen to me!
Listen to you? By what right?
By divine right, if you must. I'm your king.
No, you're not. You told me so yourself. You said you didn't want it. Why should I waste my time listening?
Because I have a right to be, and I have a voice!
Yes, you do. You have such perseverance, Bertie. You're the bravest man I know. You'll make a bloody good king.
So, could you all hear that okay? Even though you probably couldn't see it very well. How's my Brittany mic? Back on? There we go. Cool. All right. So the reason I've shared that little clip with you is because it's really important for you to understand when you're communicating how you see yourself. So at that point, and I don't know whether you've watched The King's Speech. Who's watched the full movie? It's awesome. If you haven't, it's a really cool movie. King George at this point in the story doesn't really believe that he is deserving of that position. And one of the reasons he doesn't believe he's deserving of that position is because he feels like he can't communicate clearly because he has a stammer. And so the way in which he sees himself is coming from fear. And as the movie goes on, he discovers his voice and he discovers how to use it and he overcomes his stammer. And he actually becomes a very articulate speaker and a leader. And so what I'd like you to take away from that is, how do you see yourself in your business and when you're presenting and communicating? Do you see yourself as a confident speaker and presenter? Are you clear when you put your messages out there? Or do you speak too quickly? Or do you not quite get out what you want to say? So just write down for me if you can. Just have a think. How would you describe yourself right now as a public speaker, as a presenter, as the leader of your business? And if you want to use some descriptive words like confidence, inspirational, speak quickly. Can we have some sharers, please? So, who wrote down the word confident? Great. Fantastic. Any other words come up? Let's all be open and honest. What's that, sorry? Nervous. Thanks for sharing. And you're not on your own there at all. Any others? Yeah. Yeah, it can be overwhelming. And this comes back around to the mind blank actually is connected to your breath. And your focus is more often on you rather than on who you're speaking to. So if we can slow down and start breathing, that's one of the key things actually that I'll write down on here. Is slow down. So actually, so if you slow down, you're actually giving yourself a fighting chance. You're allowing yourself to breathe. So what happens is because what we tend to do on a daily basis is we'll breathe into here. More often than not, we'll be breathing into our chest. So if I say if I'm working one-on-one with a client and I'll say, right, just take a deep breath for me, they'll normally go, and their shoulders will move up and their chest will move up. So I'll say, okay, now breathe in to your abdomen, which is obviously down here, and we actually want to see I don't know whether my belly's going to move, but we actually want to breathe, when you breathe in, your belly wants to go out, like that. That means you've got a full tank to support your message. So when we're only breathing into here, which is probably what's happening when your mind goes blank, you've only got that much breath from here to support your message. You've only got that much breath going to your brain. When you're breathing into here, which again is something that we need to train ourselves to do because we've untrained ourselves, you have all of this breath to support your sound and your message, and all of this breath to go up to your brain. So what do you think happens when we starve our brain of oxygen? Go blank. Absolutely. Of course we do. Because we've got no breath, we've got no oxygen going on, so we're not clear. So if you can, next time that happens, actually allow yourself to take a moment, to breathe, to take a breath. Because that actually tells a different story as well. When we speak quickly, we're speaking really, really quickly, and we've got so much to say, and we've just got to get it out and get the message out there and tell everybody everything, and it's just so wonderful, and then we can leave. Or we take our time, we're considerate with our words, and we make sure that we are connecting. What do each of those tell in regards to levels of confidence, do you think? What does the fast speaker, what does their story say? Yeah, over and done with. And what does that say? Perfect. And what does the speaker who takes his or her time and is considerate with words and articulate, what does that story say? Perfect. Yeah. So the speed in which you speak tells a story. The amount of breath that you allow yourself to take tells a story. So when all of these weird and wonderful, strange things start happening, which is fight and flight. So who's heard of fight and flight? Yeah? So we're in stress, we're in survival mode, and of course our body is going to have a physical reaction to that. So when those nerves and the anxiety is happening, that's just a clear signal to you that you're in fight and flight. And when you're in fight and flight, you cannot communicate to the best of your ability. Would you agree? So what you want to be in is this. Rest and digest. So you've got fight and flight and rest and digest. So rest and digest means that you're calm, that you're breathing, that you're relaxed and comfortable, which then means that you can put your focus on your audience, because that's who it's all about. So the process that I took you through earlier, the warm-up process, is going to make sure that you're in rest and digest. So next time you feel anxious, just think, Laura told me to hum, so I'm just going to go and hum at everybody and get myself into rest and digest. Cool. All right. I am going to take you through a structure and flow of a great presentation. Is that going to be helpful to you? Yeah? Cool. Preparation, we've done that already. Okay, so these are 3 questions that I always ask before creating content for anything, whether it is a presentation, whether it's a webinar, a video. Who uses video in their business? A few of you, great. How about webinars? You will do. Great, awesome. And I've already asked you about your presenting and speaking. So, before creating any content, I'd like you to ask yourself these 3 questions. Remembering who's the most important? Yay! Okay, so how do you want your audience to feel whilst you're speaking? So, yeah, fantastic. Engaged, inspired. Think about when you have people over to your home, for example. When people arrive, we know how we want them to feel. We want them to feel welcome, want them to feel comfortable, safe, want them to feel looked after. So when you're presenting in a room and video online, it's your job to be the host. This is your space. This is your living room. And you know how you want your audience to feel. Do you want them to feel motivated, inspired, confident, relieved? Do you want them to feel reassured? What are those things that you would like them to be feeling? Obviously, we're never in control of how somebody else feels, but when you've got this clarity, it informs the way in which you can then deliver. Cool. Next one is, what do you want your audience to understand specifically? So let me give you an example from today. I would love you to understand that if you use the warm-up process that I've given you, it's going to help you be a much more confident, comfortable, open speaker. And I might choose a few other things that I'd really like you to understand as well. So be really specific. So just take a couple of moments to write what you would like your audience to understand. So whether you've got a presentation coming up or whether you have got, hypothetically, if you haven't got anything coming up necessarily, I'd like you to think of a situation where you can use these questions. It even might be talking to your staff, to your team, leading the team. All right, next one I'm going to whiz through, because I want to make sure that you get that structure and flow of a presentation to take away with you as well. So the third question is, what do you want your audience to do? Quite often this one gets missed, which sounds ridiculous, doesn't it? But it does get missed. And we actually want to be really transparent in what we would like our audience to do. So if you're speaking, for example, doing an information night, what's your name again, sorry? Joanne. At your information night, what is it that you're delivering? Process to sell your home. Great, okay. Brilliant. And so what's your objective for doing that? What do you want those people in that room to do at the end of the information night? Yes? Great. Okay. Wonderful. Okay, so if they feel comfortable and they've got that knowledge and they understand what the process is, what does that then mean for them? Great, okay. So you want them to be making decisions on the night? Yeah. Not necessarily, yeah. Great. So it's even in that sense, you can still tell them what you would like them to do. and be transparent in that. And say, you know, from this information that you've taken from tonight, our intention is that you go away and you can make the best decision for you. So that when we miss this step out, we don't tell people what we want them to do, especially if people have got products and services that they're offering, you're missing out a step, which means they then have to go away and discover it for themselves. So let's say, for example, you're in teaching. What is it that you teach? Didgeridoo. Wow, awesome. It's amazing. Yeah. Okay, great. Perfect, great. So that's really easy. You can say, you need to go away and practice this, otherwise the cost of that is that you're not going to move forward. That's great. And you'll... Yeah, well, you're doing it. It's there. Well, as humans, we like direction. We like to be given direction, because then we're clear. We're like, oh, okay, Laura said go and do the warm-up. I'm going to go and do the warm-up. You know, we can actually... It means that we will remember that information for a longer period of time than if we weren't given that direction. Yeah, awesome. Okay, so we've got feel, understand, and do. I'm going to skip this little bit because I want to get to the structure. But your job, just quickly, whilst you're doing your communicating, is to educate, is to entertain, and to inspire. Do you feel like you've been educated today? Do you feel like you've been entertained? Do you feel like you've been inspired? Awesome. Great stuff. All right, we made it to the content container. This is such a simple way of structuring thank you very much, your content. So we've got 15 minutes to whiz through this. Okay. So let's work on doing a live presentation. Would that be helpful for you all? Whether you've got one coming up or not, that's what I'd like you to focus on, and then you can take this down for when you need it. Okay, so we're going to break up each section. Sorry, let me just go back. You'll see that there's 3 sections there, really simple, really easy. Introduction, body, and empower. Okay, so we're going to go through each one. So these are the things that I would love you to have in your introduction, because your job in your introduction is to engage, and build curiosity, and make sure that people are listening. So if you have these things in there, you're more than likely going to get that. So more often than not, you will have seen this many times, where a speaker or presenter will start with a hook, which is very similar to an icebreaker. It's a way of getting your audience to act as a group and to respond as a group. So, 4 types of hooks. First one is a statistic. Sharing a statistic. We like statistics. We trust them. We don't always know that they're true. But if somebody shares a statistic with us, we'll generally trust what they're saying. So when I did my TED-style talk over in New York, I started my talk with, every single day, we take 17,000 breaths, on average. Actually, up to 20,000. Amazing, right? My question to you is, are you making them count? So that's the second hook. Statistic, question. So you want to be asking a question that relates directly to your audience, or that they are more than likely going to say yes to. So quite often I might start my talks with, who would love to be a better public speaker? Are we in the room because we want to be better public speakers? Can you see the difference in the way I asked the two questions? The first one didn't really get a response and the second one did. Yeah? So it's the way in which you ask that question. You want to be getting a yes response from your audience. So you've got statistic, you've got question. The third hook is multimedia, so music, video, imagery. Something that sets the scene. That's going to get your audience's attention. And number 4 is story. So you'll see at the beginning I told you a short story about why I started Speaker's Little Secret. And that gave you a bit more of an insight into who I am and that little journey. So it builds that trust and curiosity. So you can actually just start straight off with a story if you wanted to. So we got those, we've got statistic, we've got question, we've got multimedia, and we've got story. So more often than not, you're going to choose 1 or 2 of those 4 to start with. Yep. Then we're going to move on to delayed promises, which is basically, I promise you that I'm going to deliver this to you today. I promise that this is what we're going to go through today. So at the beginning, you may remember that I told you what we were going to go through. A warm-up, how I said I was going to get you moving. I said we're going to go through presence and the structure. So it's just letting your audience know. It's like an agenda, pretty much. This is what we're doing today. Great. Okay, and then once you've got your 3 delayed promises, usually you choose 3 because we can digest that information easily in chunks of 3. If you haven't started your talk with a story, you're then going to bring in your story after the delayed promises and your credibility. So this actually relates to, quite often, depending on what it is that you're doing and what industry you're in, your why. Why are you here? Why are you doing this? What does it mean to you? What does it mean to the audience? Has anybody here heard of the hero's journey? I'll probably share some stuff with Steve afterwards because I'm probably not going to have time to go through that today. But the hero's journey is a really succinct way of telling story. And I've been able to condense it down from 12 steps to 5 steps. So I will share that with Steve so that you can have a look at that as well. Okay, so are we all clear on what needs to be in the introduction? Yeah, cool, awesome. Body. Easy. This is where we fulfill our promises. This is where we add all of our value. Value, value, value. As much value as you can possibly give. And it's easy because you've already broken it down. You've told people, I promise you I'm going to deliver this. I promise you I'm going to deliver this. And I promise you I'm going to deliver this. And then you just break down each section. So it's just a really clear and simple way of doing it. Does anybody want to give themselves as an example so we can demonstrate? I would love one of you to give me your information as an example. Somebody who's not got involved yet. I feel like a teacher. Someone at the back of the room. Can you share with me what your next presentation is? Anybody? Anybody in the room? Come on, I'm not going to give up.
I can. It's a little bit different.
Oh, okay.
My next thing, we own an art gallery and picture framing.
Yeah,
So
great.
the next thing is going to be a exhibition opening.
Beautiful. So your next thing is an exhibition opening. Okay. And so why are you doing that?
For our local artists, well, for our business,
Yep.
for the local, I have to use the mic, to showcase our local artists. And it's also exciting because we're partnering with New South Wales National Parks. So it's to celebrate their 50 years as an organisation.
Okay. So there's 2 delayed promises. So very simply, just needs to be simple, you can say the reason for this evening is to showcase our local artists, because we believe that by showcasing our local artists means that, whatever it means to you, whatever it means to them. And what we're also doing here tonight is celebrating the 50 year. And then so when you actually go into, you're basically, obviously, it is a little bit different because it's a showcase, but you still want to be very, very clear about why the people are in the room and what your intention is for them. Not necessarily for you, but what the intention is for them being there on that particular evening. Your intention might be for them to have as much fun as possible and connect with each other and network. Your intention might be for some of the artists to sell some artwork. And so you can be really clear in that and demonstrate and say, look, we would love you to buy some artwork tonight if something takes your fancy. And just make sure that you are articulating those things. Does that make sense for you? Yeah. Really, really simple. I was saying to Steve before, like the thing that I would want you to take away from tonight as well, from today as well, is that when you're communicating, the simpler you can be, the simpler and clearer you can be, the better it is for your audience. The more we try and over-deliver, it's actually doing a disservice to your audience because they can't take all that information on board. So if we can be really clear and simple, this is the information I'm giving you, this is what I'd love you to do with it. This is the information I'm giving you, this is what I'd love you to do with it. And as long as people know what your expectation is and why you're doing something, they are much more likely to retain that information from you. So does that make sense for everybody? So your body is where thank you so much for sharing. Your body is where you're going to give the most value. This is where you're educating, and this is where you're inspiring. Yep. It also might be, let's say you are selling something from stage, for example, or in a room. This is where you would do that, and this is where you would start seeding those products or services in a non-salesy way. So you're basically just opening up an opportunity. So that would work for you with the art gallery in regards to maybe wanting to sell some pieces. You would let people know that that's what you would like them to do. Quite often when I do my talks, I'll say a way of doing that, of demonstrating what you have available, is when I work with clients who go through my online training program, or when I work with clients who come to my 2-day workshop, this is what we do. So you're not necessarily pushing it on people, but you're inviting them to plant the idea in their head. Make sense? Okay, so value, 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 value. Got it? We've got about 5 minutes. 5 minutes? Yeah. Okay, perfect. So now we get to the empower. This is where you're empowering your audience to make a positive decision. This is where we want to reaffirm that new vision. So I'm just really quickly going to show you this as well. So have any of you heard of Nancy Duarte? Okay, write this name down for me. I'd really like you to go away and look up Nancy. because what she shares in her TED Talk is really interesting. And she talks about the structure and flow of a great presentation, which is intertwined into what I've given you today. And it's really about what she teaches is creating a new vision and a new possibility for your audience. So she structures it like this. And what she does within those presentations is she oscillates between what is and what could be. What's that new possibility? Excuse my writing. And that's your job here, is to reaffirm that new vision, the new possibility. So if you implement what I've given you today, for example, if you go away and implement your warm-up process, if you go away and use this structure, it's going to mean that you have more clarity, it's going to mean that you can communicate with confidence, you're going to enjoy public speaking so much more, and ultimately people are going to take away so much from your presentations. How does that sound? Yeah, great. So that's the new possibility if you implement what I've given you. So same for you, depending on what industry you're in. What's the challenge right now? What's the new possibility? What's the challenge right now? What's the new possibility? And you always want to finish on that new vision, on the new possibility. Again, you're empowering your audience to take a positive action, make a positive decision. And again, we want to make sure that we are giving them a call to action. What would you like them to do? What would you like them to do? Which goes all the way back around to what we did earlier with the feel, understand, and do. So another example for you is, if you would love to find out more about public speaking and presenting on camera, head on to speakerslittlesecret.com and check it out. There's loads of free stuff on there. Okay, so we're wrapping up now. What I'd love is from each table, one takeaway from this session that we've just done. And we'll start with this table over here. Awesome. Slow down and breathe. Perfect. Perfect. This table here at the front. Structure. Fantastic. Great stuff. I can also send out a supporting document which goes through that whole explanation for you. So you've got it all written down. So I'll send that over to Steve as well. Wonderful. This table at the front here. Perfect. Love it. Breathe. Great stuff. Table at the back there. Great. Yeah, thanks. And it's so simple, isn't it? It's so simple. Brilliant. Well done. Thank you. Next table. Yeah. Great. And that means you can check in with yourself. Am I educating here? Am I being inspiring? Great stuff. Chunks of 3. Table over here. We have a designated speaker. Wonderful. Yeah. Fantastic. Because if you're comfortable in what you're saying, that actually makes your audience feel comfortable too. Yeah. Wonderful. And table at the back there. Awesome. That's a fantastic takeaway. That's just wonderful because, and that's what I do, and that's what I say to a lot of my speakers all the time, is if you're stuck, just stick some music on. And sometimes if I'm working with people in this space, I'll literally get them to do their presentation whilst they're jogging on the spot. And they're like, can I stop? Yeah, can I stop? I'm like, no, keep going. And it's just about moving your body and shifting your breath. so that you have a different way of connecting. Wonderful, wonderful. Well done. Thank you so much for your attention.